I want to welcome everyone to this preview of the SP Jain Professional Certification in Product Management. We're going to be doing something slightly different today, but please give me a moment to start our live stream. This process takes me about 30 seconds. Appreciate your patience. All right. And we are now streaming live to LinkedIn as well as YouTube and of course on WebEx. My name is Stuart Creek. I'm with Simplilearn. I'm here with Arnab Banerjee, who is product manager at Simplilearn for the SP Jain program. And what we're going to be doing today is, in order to share with you some of the thoughts from SP Jain's faculty, we're going to be playing a recording of a preview that we originally broadcast in August. So if you will, please pay attention as we get this going and let me know if there are any audio issues. Good evening and welcome to our preview of the Professional Certification in Product Management from SP Jain School of Global Management. My name is Stuart Creek. I'm with Simplilearn. I am here. Dr. Salvan Dornaj and Professor Nadia Sayar are going to help us introduce the program, tell you a bit about SP Jain, and then my colleague Naman and I will talk a bit about Simplilearn and how to enroll in the program. So to begin, just recap about SP Jain and about Simplilearn. We'll talk about project management, how the program works, gets you ready for employment as a product manager, then the enrollment steps, and we'll take your questions toward the end. You can put those into the Q&A box of your WebEx window. So I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Sullivan to describe SP Jain, and he has a few slides that he's prepared. I'll just go ahead, Dr. Sullivan.
Thank you, Stuart. Thanks a lot, and good evening, good afternoon to everyone. So let me just introduce myself. My name is Selvan, and I'm the program director for this particular program from SP Jain. I bring about 35 years of industry experience. I have been in multiple roles, be it sales, quality, finance, HR, and head of a global business as well, managing profit and loss. I've been teaching for many years. I would have trained about 10,000 executives in my life, in my corporate life. So that's briefly my background. It's a pleasure to interact with all of you and talk about this particular program, which I'm anchoring with SP Jain. And just to introduce you about SP Jain, we are a global MBA school, B school. And in fact, we started in Dubai. Our first campus was in Dubai. And then we went on to set up our campuses in Sydney, Singapore, and lastly, Mumbai. And there are a couple of campuses which are coming up, one in London and one in the US. So we'll be having shortly 2 additional campuses. And therefore, it's a global school. You see some of our campuses out there. The one in the center is the Dubai campus, which we first started. And we have a lot of global recognitions. To just name a few, I think, as we can go into the next slide. Consistently, we have been ranked by many of the agencies. In fact, Forbes has rated us from 2013 to 2021 among the top 20 in the world B schools. And Times Higher Education, for example, has been rating us in 1819 as the number 4 best school in the world. So I'll not go through each of these sort of acknowledgements which we have got, but just to let you know that we are an Australian registered business school and operating globally, and therefore our faculty are spread across all the continents. So you'll have faculty from Europe, you'll have faculty from India, from Singapore, as well as from Australia. And they all have impeccable credentials. They are from Harvard, Duke, Cornell, just to name a few of top-notch institutes they have graduated from. Two-thirds, 75% of them are, three-fourths are basically with doctoral degrees, and they come from 5 continents. So all this brings about a sort of international flavor to the program that you are going to go through from one of the most acknowledged sort of B schools in the world. So that's something which I wanted to bring to your attention through these slides, that you are in very safe hands with impeccable sort of faculty from across the globe, and we're all working. Most of the faculty have rich experience both in corporate life as well as in academia. As you can see in the last line, they teach at INSEAD, University of Los Angeles, the Australian University, NUS in Singapore, all the famous universities they teach. So that's sort of faculty that we are bringing into this program. So it should be one of the very interesting sort of programs that we'll be going through. So as we go on to the next slide, let me request Stuart to take it forward from here and explain Simplilearn, who's our partner in this program. Yeah, go ahead, Stuart. You're not audible for me. I'm not sure about others.
Sorry about that. Thought I had unmuted myself. One of those glitches that happens. I just want to introduce Simplilearn very briefly. We're the world's #1 online bootcamp. We have a scalable platform that has up to now reached about at present 70K monthly learners. We have world-leading completion rates compared to other online types of self-education, because we're a bootcamp format that puts professors from institutions or industry expert instructors into the live virtual classroom environment, so that you're not just learning from pre-recorded videos. Describe that a bit more, but just wanted to say that we have served over 4 million users across all of our programs. We're extremely excited to be working with SP Jain for the product management professional certification, and we are, as what it says, focused on digital skills across the board. So in addition to digital marketing and management type skills, we also offer programs in technical skills, software development, data science, and across the range. So again, extremely proud and excited to be working with SP Jain on this program and tell you a bit more about product management. Dr. Selvin, did you want to describe this, or shall I?
Yeah, sure. So it's my privilege to take these few slides and explain. I think most of you are here for this purpose, because I don't have to really tell the importance of product management, because you all are interested in this particular area, and that's why you are really here today. But just to reiterate, I think today if I talk to most of the B school students whom I teach, all of them have the same query saying that how do I get into product management as a career? And that seems to be the sort of interest that it has brought in, because it's such a combination of almost all the sides of management, whether it is sales, marketing, product road mapping, you name it. I think no pricing strategies, everything. It's bringing in everything together, and it's one of the key things that is being sought after by everyone. And as all of us know, buyers do have choice, and it's a product manager's job to make it successful, how to be successful for the organization. And most organizations have also pivoted their organization around products. So that's the another interesting dimension. In fact, I was consulting for one of the multinational corporations who, when I was talking to their leaders, they were all saying that I'm the owner of this product. And almost everyone was telling that I'm the owner of this product, I'm the owner. So I was asking them, what do you mean by you're the owner of this product? And they said that, okay, I manage end-to-end responsibility for this product. So including P&L. Then I was asking them, but who manufactures, who sells, and who? No, that's a matrixed organization. But it's my responsibility to ensure across the matrixed organization it's seamless and it's successful. So multiple products might be manufactured by the same production line, but each product manager owns the whole responsibility of P&L. So it's becoming too complex. At such a senior level, people are owning products and are able to handle end-to-end responsibility. So that's the sort of positioning product management is having. If we can go to the next slide, please, Stuart. Yeah. So as I mentioned, they are completely responsible. They are right at the center. Almost every aspect of the organization revolves around product management today. And not only from that point of view, I was even doing some bit of career counseling for people, and they were interested in some sort of statistics around how the salary benchmarks are. And we could see that product management profession clearly outscores many other professions from a salary benchmarking as well. The year-on-year increases that has come out in a recent survey show that I think it's one of the most sought after today careers for people. So I think rightly that you are all interested in this particular area, and we are also excited about bringing this sort of a program to all of you, because it's again an amalgamation of many streams that we have been teaching separately, that we are able to put this program together. If you can kindly move on to the next slide, Stuart. Yeah, so the skills, as I was mentioning to you, now look like a product manager has to have all these sort of skills, whether it's design thinking, market research, how to understand user behavior, product road mapping, methodologies from agile to various tools that are available in the market, to leadership mindset, so or a growth mindset also. So almost it's like having all the dimensions of skills put together into the product manager. So that's going to be a very, very complex thing to be covering the whole gamut of things. But I think through this program, we are trying to do quite a bit of justice, I would say, which I will be explaining as we go down this particular slides as to how we are trying to cover most of these aspects. So if we can go to the next slide, Stuart.
At this point, we're going to run a poll of the audience, and if you're watching on the streaming service, you can put A, B, C, or D into your comments, but this is a question about what's stopping you from taking a program like this. What has stopped you in the past from doing that? So we'll run this poll for another 20 seconds. This is a live poll for the audience that is watching the replay, so please do answer this. This is not this is going on live. I want to hear your responses from today. And here is the result. I'm going to share that with our audience on WebEx. About 57% of people have said that they haven't found a program that will give them practical experience that will let them confidently claim that they're product management experts. So with that, we're going to return to the replay and hear Dr. Sullivan tell us more about it.
Sure. Very interesting. And as so this particular program, what we have conceived and put together actually does not require an experience in product management. So we are starting grounds up, build your skills. We assume that beyond 2 years of experience that you might have in any field, it doesn't matter. You might be currently in IT, you might be in manufacturing, you might be in sales, it doesn't matter. But you are welcome to this particular program because we'll be assuming that you have no sort of product management exposure. And that's how all the sessions have been coded into this particular program. So that way you can be rest assured that your experience is not going to be in your way of becoming a product manager certified person. And the second one was about your schedule, and conveniently we have tried to keep it in the weekends, 3 hours a day, 3 hours over the weekends. Of course, there will be some amount of work which will be required during the weekdays as a preparatory material if there is a session on a weekend, and if there is some reading that you might have to do, that might happen. And towards the end of the program, there is going to be a capstone which we'll explain to you. There again, you might have to work a bit more. But I think by then you will be so excited about product management that it should not be a constraint at all of your spending more time on the capstone project. So we'll explain to you how the program is structured and how it is getting executed so that you're able to appreciate that in about 5 hours per week that you will be spending over the next 4 to 4.5 months, you can be comfortably saying in the market that you have understood most of the facets of product management and also had sort of hands-on through a capstone. So all that is getting assured through this particular program. So as we can move to the next slide. So existing product managers are also welcome. It's not that if you have a product management certificate, you should not be joining, because there are certain things which you might find it very relevant. And especially what happens in product management, which I have seen, is the learning that happens from a cohort in terms of the pure learning is quite high, because each of them bring in different experiences. And when you work in teams in your capstone, you will find that the amount of learning that you can leverage from each other is going to be quite immense. So, and aspiring product managers who have 2 years of experience in any field, so they are also most welcome into this particular program. In fact, most of you, I assume that will be in the second category, where you will be aspiring product managers. As we can go to the next slide.
And again, another poll. And this one is just basically to get a feeling for how much experience you have in the workplace. This is not particular to product management, be any type of experience. We'll run this poll for another 10 seconds. And 3, 2, 1. Here is the result. Sharing with the WebEx audience. And this is a pretty even distribution. 30% of our audience has more than 10 years of experience, but the levels of experience from lower levels are distributed about 20% in each category. So it's a broad range of folks in today's audience.
So I think that's very nice. And I saw some questions pop up, which was asking different industries, is it relevant for them as well, or is it not? And I thought, let me explain to you that we are seeing nominations come from almost every sector, whether it is financial, education, manufacturing, you name it, sales and marketing, because as I told you, this is a rounded sort of a profession. And even from an industry, whether we are seeing that retail, utilities, we even have a member of the legislative assembly participating in this. So it's a person who's in public policy, and that person is also keen to participate on this program. So today, product management seems to be the interest and the fancy of almost every industry that is there. So that way, I think you can be rest assured that irrespective of which industry, because I saw I'm in aerospace, would it be relevant for me? Of course, aerospace is one of the most promising areas where product management is relevant. So you'll find it absolutely applicable for you. One more question which popped up was, does it have any connection with PMI certification? Just to reiterate, PMI is for project management. It's not for product management. So project management is about how do you use resources, quality, and time in the most optimal fashion. It is not to do with the customer, the requirement, the needs, and the sort of product that you are going to be designing and taking it to market with the pricing and all. So it's more about execution. So PMI comes in there, and it's nothing to do with product management. This is very different, which I'm going to be now explaining to you what we are covering in this program. So if you can just help me, Stuart, go to the next slide. Yeah. So the way to read this particular slide, it looks very complex, is that we go from the bottom to the top, because the program starts right at the bottom where we are having an orientation and introduction session, which are very short sessions. They are not actually the part of the program, and they are short sessions just to bring everyone to speed in terms of what this particular course is about, and getting everyone to the same page. So the actual modules start from why products fail and some succeed. That's where the first module starts. From there onwards, you will see that there are about 13 different modules, each of them 3 hours duration, which are all structured. And if I can take the privilege of just walking you through them, I think it covers things like product ideation and strategy. Then it has the leadership and growth mindset, the value validation, new product development, the feature engineering, developing services and platforms, which is very different from products. So how do you really work on services and platforms? And then we get into prototyping, we get into the life cycle management, systems thinking. How do you create a business model once you have everything there? How do you do a UX design, and that too using, let's say, neuro product design, which is one of the hottest topics today, that how does neuroscience come into product management and supports it? And then product road mapping and prioritization. And we have a separate session on tools. So where commonly used tools are also taught to you, so that you can try them out in specific areas. For example, you will be finding that some of these are going to be very, very helpful for you. So the tools also will come in very handy. So there are 13 modules apart from the tools module. And then you also have, interestingly, industry experts coming and talking to you during the time of this particular program. So we are going to have experts from VMware, Amazon, Adobe, Microsoft coming in and sharing their experiences of how they develop products. So, and lastly, the capstone, which is also mentioned here. So towards the end of the program, you will be having a touch point where a project will be given to each of you. This will be again by an industry expert who has designed these the projects, capstone project. and that will ask you to use all the learning that you have done across the 13 modules and try it out in a real life sort of a scenario. And there will be clear submissions that will be asked from each of you, which will be evaluated. And you will be having one more touch point. There will be 2 touch points for capstone. One more touch point where they will give you some more inputs or a feedback sort of a session based on what you have submitted. So that means that even after we complete all the theoretical and sort of application sort of sessions, you will still be trying it out. Practice will be there. And therefore, it's very, very comprehensive from learning and application and also practice. All 3 dimensions of learning are going to be given to you as part of this program. So that way it's very comprehensive, and also with the combination of the industry experts, you will be also be able to see how these concepts are used across other industries. So that's what I wanted to explain to you about the program. So you'll find it extremely interesting to go through that. And we're just giving you some of the faculty who might be doing some of these sessions. Of course, 1 or 2 of them might change as well as we go through, and depending on the interest that people are showing. So you have Dr. Christopher, who is our head and director for our Dubai campus, directly coming into this program. You have Nick, who's from Australia, and he'll be teaching you about the sort of neuro product management concepts. Dr. Meadows might just chip in for a small expert lecture. She possibly will do a video for you and send it as a recording. And so she's one of our experts who's in our innovation center, head of the innovation. So she might be chipping in with some expert sort of a session. And the others, Shirish is from Singapore. So it's a global sort of a faculty, which is what I wanted you to understand. So Nick is from Australia, Dr. Chris is from Dubai campus, Shirish is from Singapore. So you'll have the global faculty. And today I have the privilege of introducing you, Professor Nada, to you, who's also one of our faculty, and she's based from our Dubai campus. And if you can go to the next slide. This is Nada for you, very, very eminent professor in marketing, and has a rich experience in the corporate side as well. As you can see, she was a marketing manager at Royal Dutch Shell, became a brand manager at Procter & Gamble, and senior brand manager at Colgate-Palmolive, and a marketing director later on in Morocco, and she also teaches in Geneva. So rich experience from a global perspective and a variety of subjects that she has been teaching. So today we have a privilege of interacting with Professor Nada, so that she can, it's a free flow for her to decide what she wants to talk to you about, because there are a variety of modules that she's going to be handling in this particular program. But some elements of that she might want to share with you all and give you an exposure so that you're more confident and comfortable on how to go forward with this particular program. So with that, let me turn it over to Professor Nada, and all yours, Professor. Welcome to the session.
Thank you very much, Selvan, for this introduction. It's a pleasure to be here today with you to give more details about the modules I'm going to be teaching in this program of product management, which I find super interesting and super cutting edge. Somebody was asking in the chat, and I was looking and reading the comments. I have a lot of experience in a specific domain, how this will benefit me. So my advice to this person is to go ahead and look at the program, look at the components, and look at the elements. It is true that when we are experienced in an area, we develop a lot of knowledge, a lot of expertise, a lot of know-how, but sometimes it's very interesting to go back to, first of all, learning the latest knowledge, the latest technologies, the latest processes, something more holistic. The fact that we have worked for so many years in an area does not mean that we got proper coaching or proper training at all levels of what is required. And sometimes we are so busy with our day-to-day obligations that we don't have time to keep ourselves up to date as with what's happening, the latest technologies, the latest findings, the latest tools, the latest skills. The other interesting things about learning in this context is all the interaction that the participants are going to get with their classmates, all the comments that they're going to be reading. It's not only going to be about one industry, but the exposure is immense in the sense where they will get a chance to also know the applications on various industries. So I see that there are a lot of opportunities to learning and expanding the expertise in this program and thinking of new ideas to incorporate new things within our day-to-day jobs. So today I'm going to be giving you an appetizer of what I will be teaching in my modules, for example. So I am responsible for module number 7, which is the value validation and testing if customers would pay, and module 13, which is designing the business model, targeted marketing, and market analysis. So as Selvan said, I have worked in this area. I was myself a brand manager. So I had to manage several products, several brands, end to end. That's how I got my professional experience. But I also did a lot of supporting startups with their new product launch, their product management when I was in Switzerland for the past 15 years, working at the University of Geneva. So, so let me double click a little bit on the value validation and testing if customers would pay. So in this module, I will be supporting the participants in really learning about how to define product value. So I have been teaching executives for over 15 years now. I believe almost 15 years. And whenever people are, these executives come along in their projects and they try to work on a new product, often they are so excited about the product feature, that it's not their top of mind to really go into thinking about the value proposition, thinking about how is this product going to be best perceived or best serve the needs of the target customers. So in this module, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn a little bit about how do we define these people that we would like to target with our product. And then once we define them, once we learn how to segment them, then we will identify what is the best value proposition that we can offer them to better fit their need. And this is how we can generate maximum return. The best way to have winning products is to really assess this value proposition. And when we talk about value proposition, we really talk about the benefits and the costs associated with adopting this product. And also, we have to give our target customers a reason to choose our product as opposed to competitors. We do not exist in a vacuum. We are in 2022. As all of you know, competition is very high. All the areas have been explored already. So there is less and less white space available. This does not mean that we cannot launch new, highly successful products. We see a lot of startups coming in and disrupting huge players in the industry. For example, here in Dubai, we are very proud to, for example, always set Huda Beauty, who is a small American startup. She's American, she's Iraqi, now she lives in Dubai. And she had her startup, Huda Beauty, in makeup and personal care products that she launched with $5,000. And with this startup that was launched on Facebook and now is thriving on YouTube and on Instagram, she really managed to eat share from the big players, such as MAP, for example, who really had a lot of budgets and are big multinationals hiring very expensive chief marketing officers. She still managed to do it. So these are the kind of examples we will be learning from in these sessions and trying to really learn from them. And based on these examples, we will develop some highly relevant value propositions. Also, in terms of value propositions, we will try to understand the different dimensions of value. So the functional value, the psychological value, the monetary value that the customer would be getting from this proposition, and also learn how to assess the importance of each of these values. The other thing we will be looking at is also how does this stand versus competition. So we will be looking at points of parity. How are we similar to competition? How are we different from competition? How are we superior? So all these questions and all these frameworks will help us define our product value and make sure that we have a winning proposition, we have a successful proposition. The number 3 reasons for new products and new startups to fail is offering products that do not have high traction. This comes from not taking the time to really look at the target markets and the needs and their needs and the value propositions that we are offering. Then in this module, we will also cover the various ways to validate this value proposition through market research, testing our value proposition and seeing if our customers are really willing to pay for it. And I see this all the time when I work with executives on projects, is that they come to me and they're like, oh, I have this great idea. I believe it's going to be successful. But I say, okay, but did you test it? Did you validate it with your target? You can have the best idea and you believe it's really innovative and nobody has done it before. But if nobody is willing to pay for it, nobody perceives it as valuable, then it's not really worth much. I'm sorry to say that. So usually what we do is that we do some market research, we do some market analysis, we do some testing, and there are many ways we can test a new value proposition, depending on where we are in our progression. So we can, for example, do a concept test. If we're still thinking about the concept and we don't yet have a prototype, we can test the concept and the value proposition alone and get a sense of its traction. We can also test a prototype. Sometimes startups would have a prototype where we have the product is not the final version, it's similar to the final version, and we would like to go ahead and test it and see how attractive it is, and validate it with our target market. And sometimes we have a product and we are not sure, if we still need to tweak it, what do we need to change. Then what we do is that we test as a pilot, as an experiment. So these are all options available when it comes to market research and analysis. The last learning objective, which is, so the real focus of this module is going to be defining the product value and looking at the market research. The third learning objective is going to be of a third importance. So the focus is going to be on the first two, but we will look at the resources, which teams, which financial resources do we need to deliver this product. So this is for the module number 7. Now, let me move to the other module I'm going to be teaching you guys, which is designing the business model, targeted marketing, and market analytics. So this module is later, more towards the end. And what this module does is really introduce you to the business model canvas and its elements. Okay, trying to really articulate the various elements of your business model, and looking at what's going on in the industry, understanding the business model canvas, trying to understand its various elements, and also using this tool to assess the viability of your product. So a lot of startups, again, and companies, new products fail because they don't have the right business model. They did not really assess the viability. So sometimes they run out of cash. Sometimes they generate little revenue, and it's not enough to make them cover their cost structure. So depends on how much cash they have, how deep their pockets are. So if the pockets are deep, they can take more time to become viable. But often now in this day and age, you have to go quickly. You have to fail fast. And in order for us to avoid dumping a good product that has good value and is attractive, we need to assess its viability, and we need to make sure that we are on the safe side in terms of our cost structure, in terms of the projected revenue streams that we will be generating. So we will also in this module cover some various marketing techniques. So how can we best market it depending on the budget we have? So how can we best market it? How can we best make it reach our target market, and make our target market adopt this product? So we will also be looking at the various industry trends. It's very important. A lot of things are happening. We are in the post-COVID era. Also, now we are in an inflationary economy. So we have to make sure we understand the trends. Gen Z is coming. Millennials are different from our generation, and we even have Gen Z now that's coming at the forefront, that are completely digital natives with different needs. So you want to make sure also to talk to that audience, because that's the future. So it is important to keep track of these trends, to understand the implications of inflation on the industry you are targeting, and to have appropriate marketing techniques, and to develop the right strategy. Okay. And also what's very important is to link your techniques to a clear, defined strategy. Okay. Everybody has access to marketing techniques. Everybody can go for a Facebook campaign or an Instagram campaign or a LinkedIn campaign. But how do you make sure that you are designing techniques that are driven by a strategy that will deliver the numbers, that will deliver clear objectives, that are smart, and that are based on analytics? And how would you measure whether you are successful or not? So we will look at the connection between these various elements, because often what happens, and I see this all the time with the executive MBAs that I teach, have been teaching for the past 15 years, is that we have a clear objective, and then we have a tendency to move quickly to marketing tactics without really taking the time to think about what is our strategy. And unfortunately, when we are tactics-based, tactics-focused, we would find often ourselves doing firefighting with competition. we have no clear strategy. The moment competition starts dropping the price or starts launching a new initiative, we get completely lost and we move all the budgets into tactical moves to fight competition. So these are some of the things we'll be learning to have a clear marketing plan that will deliver the numbers, which are the sales, and also the marketing objectives in relation to the launch of this product. All right, so I think that's going to be all for me, Selvan. If you have any questions about these modules, feel free to ask a question in the chat. I'll be more happy to answer, and I'm looking forward seeing you attend the program.
Thank you so much, Nada. I think it was very insightful how you articulated what you will be covering in the modules. And I think, as requested, any questions to Nada, please feel free to post it. And just to reiterate, I think product management is very, very exciting. In fact, just to give you an insight, today I was reading about circular economy, which I think most of you are quite now aware how it has created a new product, which is very interesting. For example, we have been always used to printing whatever we have typed, and in A4 sheets there is a printer which is actually printing, and that after we use it, we shred the paper or we tear it and throw it away. Now a new device has come where if you put the printed sheet, you get a white sheet outside. So, which means you don't have to waste paper once created. So it's the circular economy which is pushing that sort of a innovation, a new product to come in, where you can keep reusing the paper as many times as you want just by putting it back into this machine. So the technique is so simple, because just as much as it's an ink that has been put on the paper, you can actually remove the ink as well, right? So the technique is simple, but the idea behind it as to how forces around circular economy are pushing people to innovate and come up with new products, that's interesting. And that's all about product management. How do you, and that's one of the interesting topics which we are covering, as you can see, ideation and how to come up with new sort of products. Okay. So I'm sure that it's an exciting program, and I'll now request Naman to talk about more about the program and what's in it for all of you. So over to you.
Selvan, I've seen a question that was asked while I was presenting. If you want, I can attempt to answer it, because I think it's a very interesting question. So I think it's Akshay who was asking how the product management will help us to build our own venture if you want to become an entrepreneur. So it exactly equips you with everything that you need. Whether you want to become an entrepreneur or whether you're working in a company. So as most of you know, all the companies now are trying to be agile. So the entrepreneurship mindset is entering within the organization. Microsoft is using that mindset to develop these projects. So this program caters to both. And if you want to become an entrepreneur, this is exactly what you need. You need these design thinking methodologies. You need to get the soft skills that this program is offering you as well. And all these elements are exactly what we use today in an extensive way in our executive MBA to form future, or to train future entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Nada, for that. And now I'll request Naman to take over from here and explain more about the program.
Hello, everyone. I'm Naman Kapil from Simplilearn. I'm the product manager for the program. So I just want to quickly walk everyone through what are the key features of the program, how you can get into it, and how this product management program from SP Jain will help you upskill yourself and grow in your careers. So basically, first of all, we are in comparison to other product management programs, we are covering live hands-on training and learning on product management tools. Now, these tools would be uh, Google Analytics, which are widely used for analytics across various top tier firms. Then you would get hands-on training on some design tools. Obviously, product manager uh, does overlap a lot with when it comes to designing the product, which is very high level designing. Obviously, there are this is not a design course per se, but there's always high level knowledge in which helps you in building mockups, wireframes, and also even if your product is not a software product, designing always helps you in conceptualizing the product, in making sure it is usable. Then we'll also be covering Mixpanel and Jira tools, which will help you in your overall day-to-day activities as a product manager. And there will be live, real life networking and live sessions from already existing product leaders who are people working in Amazon, Adobe, Microsoft, VMware, would be giving you real life advice on how their journey has been, how they have been into product management, how their company focuses on product management, how important is building a product, and how to grow the business with the help of product. Along with this, at the end of the program, there will be a capstone project, which is the overall aim of having the capstone project is allowing you to apply the knowledge that you have gained through global faculties from SP Jain and top tier instructors from Simplilearn, wherein you will be working on a real life case which has been carefully curated and designed by product experts from the industry. This is going to give you live hands-on experience in terms of how actual real life problems are out there in terms of building a product. These problems would also span across different domains and different facets of product management. Along with this, and I also want to highlight the capstone projects that we have. These are built on, for example, problems from Facebook, problems from Netflix, Tesla, Instagram, Nike. Product managers from these companies have faced such problems, and these are the actual problems which you would be solving in capstone projects. And at the end of the program, I was also seeing a lot of folks were asking, will there be any job assistance along with the program or not? So there will be Simplilearn Job Assist, which will help you in landing future roles as a product manager in your career. And we also have financing options available for people who want to finance the program. You can like have it for just as low as 5,000 a month. Going forward, Stuart, would you like to continue, or do you want me to take this forward?
Go ahead.
Yeah. So in terms of eligibility, I'll just cover this slide and you can take it forward. So in terms of eligibility, also want to clarify, there is no need to have any prior product management background. You could be from any domain, could be from software industry, or could not be from software industry. You could be an engineer, you could be a designer, you could be some application engineer, you could be working in an automobile industry, in fashion industry. It is open for all. And you just need to have at least 2 years of experience in any field and just have a bachelor's degree.
Very good. So at this point, we'd like to ask if you're, based on what you've seen in the replay, are you interested in taking this program? We'll just leave this open for another 20 seconds. So, almost 80% of our audience today are interested in taking this program. So this would be the right time for me to share with you how that works. I'm going to stop sharing the pre-recorded video. We've reached the end of that. And we will move into live. I will share with you how to enroll in the program. So, and after this, Arnab and I will take your questions, answer them to the best of our ability. So, to enroll in the program, very simple 3-step process. You apply at askus@simplilearn.net. In conjunction with SP Jain, we review your application, verify your requirement, prerequisites, and then we will issue you an admission invitation if you qualify. The next cohort of the program starts 24th November with a program induction orientation class, and then the actual coursework starts 11 December. So we've shown the fees here for India and rest of world. In India, 1,54,875. No interest financing as low as 51.41 a month. Rest of the world, US dollars, $2,100. Again, financing available as low as $175 a month. We always remind people to ask their employers about tuition reimbursement if this is a program that will help you in your current position. You may find that your company is willing to help you with the cost. So for more assistance, we'd ask you to reach out to us at askus@simplilearn.net. I will put that right into the chat so that you have that available. And then we'll move on to questions and answers. So that email address is now in the chat. And all right, Arnab, you're on mute. Unmute yourself.
Sorry, I think I was on mute. My apologies.
Yeah, no worries. Someone asks if a fresher can take this course.
Yes, absolutely. There are no restrictions in terms of any limits in terms of the eligibility. Anybody who's interested in product management and wishes to, transit to a product management career would be more than happy to take this program up, and the amount of knowledge that they will gain will be exponential. So there is no such criterion that is set for anybody which would restrict anybody to not be a part of this program. So yes, anybody and everybody who's interested can be a part of this program.
Okay. Abhishek asks how this is different from Scrum Alliance certification, and I know that Scrum Alliance is a project management type of discipline as opposed to a product management. You want to comment on that?
Sure. So let me give you a holistic overview of how these two are very interrelated to each other, but significantly different from each other. When we talk about, Scrum, it is particularly the idea of how you manage small aspects of your product and try to get them developed and rolled out, because you cannot completely develop and release a complete product feature into the market without breaking it down into smaller segments or smaller pieces, to be precise. And the idea of project and Scrum is to help you and your cross functional teams understand how exactly would you prioritize the creation of different features in your product, and how would that impact the audience to which the product is going to cater, and how would you prioritize that functionality to be given to your end audience. So there is a similarity when it comes to how you're going to plan which part of the feature in the product is going to be rolled out first, what comes next, and so on and so forth. And that exactly is carried out by a process, as you mentioned, called Scrum. And that is something that is regularly repeated on a cycle wise basis. It could be a bi-monthly process, it could be a bi-weekly process, depends on the kind of complexity of the program, the product that you're developing. And the concept of Scrum is to a great extent used in the entire product lifecycle management when we start ideating and we start to put down our thoughts on paper and try to understand how exactly are we going to develop this product and give it birth and actually take this to deployment once this is completely ready end to end. So getting everything ready at one go becomes very difficult because there are a lot of nuances and a lot of teams that are involved in the creation of that product. So taking it live on a sequential basis at regular intervals by launching it, talking about it, solving it, developing it via scrums is what exactly the idea of management of the product management is. And it's a very important aspect of how product manager works in these scrums to ensure that has he been able to prioritize the right set of features that have to be rolled out so that they can eventually reach out the audience at the right point of time. So they are internally related and at the same time extinguishingly different from each other.
Okay. I have a question in the Q&A from Manish who asks, does prototype mean MVP? And MVP, of course, is minimum viable product. Um, I'll make a quick comment and I'll let you address that, Arnab. But quick comment is that they don't necessarily mean the same thing because you might prototype something that isn't quite to the level of the minimum viable product. You might prototype it to test it out before that. But certainly when you reach the level of the MVP, you probably want to prototype that and do testing as well, because that's how you then determine how to move beyond the minimum to commercially viable products. Arnab, do you have anything to add to that?
Absolutely, I think you're bang on, Stuart. And just to add to that, prototyping is you playing around with your thoughts and trying to see what works best. And have you been able to, create your thoughts and come up with a solution to the problem that you're trying to solve? And an MVP, as you rightly mentioned, which stands for minimal viable product, should be something that should be able to sustain the entire requirement of the product for which it has been built. And it should cater to three particular parameters, taking into consideration whether the product is viable, feasible, and desirable. So, considering these parameters, if the product has been able to come up successfully and has been able to satisfy these three major areas, then yes, we would consider calling it an MVP. Anything before that is what you would create as a prototype. Prototype does not have any dimensions, does not have any verticals. It is just you playing around with your thoughts and trying to pen them down or put them together to come up with a solution that you feel might lead you to creating an MVP.
Excellent. Shilpi asked, can you tell more about job assistance that's available through this program?
To give you a high level overview, I would not want to dive into the specifics of how exactly the job assistance works. But yes, with the program, you particularly look forward to getting an understanding of how exactly you can transition to a product management role and how you can become a successful product manager by understanding what exactly is needed to become a successful product manager. But efficiently, that is something that needs to transition into something for which you are looking forward to join the program. So that is why the Simplilearn's job assist program comes into existence. And with the job assistance program, there are a couple of things that we take into consideration while we talk about the kind of job assistance that will be provided as part of the program. We particularly have our existence for the job assist that we provide is with a combination of a partner that we work with, which is called IM Jobs, and Hirist. They provide us with the benefit of preparing you with building up your resume. Excuse me. building up your resume, and helps you prepare with the kind of questions that you will be expected to be exposed to in case you get an opportunity to crack an interview with probable product management role, and understand the kind of discussions that you might be looking forward to happen in case you end up having an interaction, because discussions around interviews that happen with product management roles are precisely discussions and not one on just problem solving or probably a brainstorming session as to how you would be leading to creating a successful product, or how would you actually lead to get to the core reason for a product not being able to successfully perform. So these are more interactive interviews that are needed and so that the interviewer can understand your mindset and the approach that you're trying to apply to, and that is something that comes along with the job assist program, and that is how it is going to assist you in due course of time once you've completed the entire program.
Excellent, thank you. Just the last couple of questions that we have time for. One is from Parag, who is a mechanical engineering background with over 18 years experience in diesel engine R&D. How would a program like this be helpful to somebody in mechanical engineering?
So, Parag, I think we spoke on the chat. I got an understanding that you come with a solid amount of experience in R&D, and I think that, as I also mentioned to a couple of queries that I found on the chat earlier, that whatever experience that you bring onto the table with you while you're transitioning to a role which does require so many different verticals, so many uh, different teams that work together to create a successful product, and with the kind of experience that you bring from a segment that has so much amount of niche that focuses on innovation, evangelization, coming up with new ideas, trying to find out what would work the best. How will you be able to provide that in a certain amount of time? How exactly have you been developing that? And how many such products have you created in the past? And with your tenure of experience, I think the plethora of information that you will get onto the table while you transition to a PM role, and the kind of success that I see that you will already have got once you've transitioning, is that you have a strong sense of empathy when you're trying to think about it as to why that product would be necessary, because you already have worked in that forte in the past, and thinking from a user mindset, which is something very very important as a product manager, because whenever you try to develop something, you need to first think that whether this is something that the user will end up using at all on the first place. So these are two things which I think that you already have a strong hand on, and that is not restricted to your industry per se. That thought and knowledge and approach can be applied to any industry vertical, be it manufacturing, be it e-commerce, be it technology, be it education. It's just how you empathize for the end user to which you're providing a solution to. And that is something that you've been doing for the past 18 years. All you have to do is transition from thinking from a person who is going to utilize your product from a manufacturing industry standpoint, and start thinking about your user, who is particularly somebody who is going to be using an e-commerce website, or let's say somebody who is probably going to be in a department which is, let's say, associated with the F&B or the food and beverage industry. So the user behavior is just going to change, but the point of view that you will be trying to focus on as to how I solve the problem is something that you already have expertise in. And the only things that you need to get a little bit of hand holding is something that will anyways be covered as part of the program.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. And the last question, Amit asks, how do you apply product management if you have I'm assuming he means by tool it's already in place. I think he means a product that he's already offering. So if I'm assuming that correctly, how would you apply new product management skills to an existing product?
The best part about product management is that no product can ever satisfy the needs of the end user, or the person who is going to use the product, because the needs keeps on changing and they keep on developing, and that's why you keep on making new products. let me give you a very relevant example that everybody in the platform would be able to relate to. When we started with iPhone, we had a version that was probably 10 or 12 years back, and when Steve Jobs had to introduce that to the industry, that was the first of its kind that had been introduced. But that didn't stop Apple from creating more versions of it, and now we have iPhone 14 currently running in the industry, and they're selling successively. So it's not something that can restrict yourself to at one point, and that applies to every product approach or every product that has been launched into the market. You have to keep on developing it, keep on adding something new to it, so that you can continuously satisfy the end user as well as try to be one step ahead of your competition. And that's exactly what is the concept of something we call as product road mapping. And that is what exactly is also something that is going to be covered in the program, and will give you an idea as to why this development needs to continuously happen. It's like a cycle that needs to go on, unless you want your product to become stagnant, and that's how some products end up failing. So yeah, that's something that is important. And while you're developing something new for that product, you need to use a couple of tools that you already mentioned, and that is what will be covered as part of the program.
Yeah, one of my favorite examples of that is in the U.S. market for video, home entertainment. There used to be a chain of stores called Blockbuster, which would offer you rentals of videotapes and then rentals of DVDs. But they were physical stores; you had to go to them. You had subscriptions and that type of thing. There's only one left in the entire world, um, and it's only open as a novelty because there's really no need for that
Absolutely.
type of thing anymore. Netflix killed them, and Blockbuster never looked at the concept of streaming as, first off, the concept of home delivery of DVD as the competition that they'd have to worry about. But Netflix was brilliant in that they developed home delivery of DVDs, but quickly moved on to the notion of, well, streaming is going to be available, and let's develop that. So their product has evolved, and their competitor, whose product was supposedly stable and perfect, has disappeared. So again, if you've got a product, as Arnab correctly said, you can't let it stagnate. You have to adapt to the world changing around you, and that's why product management skills and tools are so very important for you. So with that, I'm going to move on to finish the webinar. If I've missed your question, I apologize, but we are kind of out of time, so we'll try to get to those maybe by email. But I want to ask one last question. What happened here? I will share this last question with our audience. So for those of you who said that you were interested in signing up for the program, how soon would you like to do it? And we've always said that if this is something that will change your life and your career for the better, it's always worth doing sooner than later. The next cohort, of course, starts a little bit later this month with the induction class, and the classes starting in December. So that's your next opportunity. 2 seconds, I'll show you answers here. Okay. So 20% of you are interested in that next opportunity, which is great. And for those of you who are looking further down the road, this program will be here for the foreseeable future. So please do keep in touch with us. But we recommend that you email ask us at simplylearn.net right away so that you get your questions answered and get into the process or be on the mailing list if you want to do this sometime in the future. With that, I'm going to thank you all for being here. I want to thank especially Arnab for his patience and answering your questions so expertly. And again, thank you to all for being here. Please do contact us at askus@simplilearn.net. And I will put into the chat right now a few other links to a video that SP Jain produced about their institution and a link to the program page. So take a quick look in your chat right now for those links. And with that, that concludes our webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, guys.